So we've got Mad Depression going against Dynamic Execution. That's going to be ProProProPro and GoCreate. ProPro trying to carry GoCreate through this tournament. ShadowUltima and DiesOsse being a kind of more medium tier. ShadowUltima is probably significantly higher ranked than DiesOsse, but DiesOsse proven to be a pretty competent player. Nothing going wrong with that. So Mad Depression on the left-hand side, shooting for that third place. We've got ProPro in the Neo. We've got GoCreate once again in that Hog versus the same team composition on the right side. We've got, well, Striker, ShadowUltima and the Striker, and DiesOsse in the Warthog as well. Already neutralizing that right-hand corner post. And then on the left-hand side, already neutral and captured on that left-hand corner post, so they're just going to step up and move to the next outpost together in force. Red team is going to break out some of these Buckies, get a little bit more damage in. Buckies do a lot of damage so long as they're shooting and so long as they're not dead, but Buckies are really good at dying, is one of their best skills in this world. That's why they're so cute. So ProPro already going to move forward. He's really got an outpost advantage already and is going to start leapfrogging up to this. Neither team has really scouted the other, so there could be all sorts of shenanigans going on, but no one would ever really notice in this case. So we're going to have a Longhorn Bucky composition already capturing this forward post, and then they're just going to skip right along. They're going to go and start muscling their way towards middle. Meanwhile, GoCreate and ProPro have neutralized this. Creeps are going to walk in and capture that. So this is about even. You've got an even upkeep numbers. So who's got the better composition here? Longhorn, handful of flackers. Carbon team's composition is going to be a little bit better if the battle comes up close, but if it becomes a stalemate where both teams are engaging at a distance, we'll see that red team has probably got the advantage. This is going to be all about the positioning. ProPro jumping right in there, putting a stasis, having the damage output, and putting these units to move slower. But you can't really pick anything off here. There's a lot of healing, hasn't been able to really kill anything yet. So going back, picking up some more units, ferrying them in, recognizes that there's a Bucky heavy composition, so goes ahead, starts dropping a couple Aegis. That should help him out significantly, but he's going to need more if he's not going to start losing tanks. So he's already lost one Longhorn, and is getting ready to lose another. He really needs a couple more Aegis in this clump if he's going to work that out. But ShadowUltima getting a little bit too brave, but manages to glide right over that chasm back to safety. ProPro not really putting on the pressure. ProPro is going to drop some RT though. Not Archie, but RT. It's going to be shorter range, shoots a little bit faster, does a little bit more damage. The distinguishment between the two is usually hard to tell. Neither team really going for these lockboxes. GoCreate picking one up. Red team kind of leaving theirs alone. They're a little bit more distracted with this mid-fight right now. But DiesOsse working that air-to-ground fire, blowing up one Longhorn, going ahead, taking out a second one, going to re-aim for this flacker, or just die. I mean, that works too. Warthog is not invincible as much as it feels like it is sometimes. GoCreate with his own Warthog, trying to pick off some units, but there's just too much armor, too much healing. And Carbon team is really unable to get a lot of harass. So ProPro setting up these artillery, but their range is just a little bit too short. They're not really firing in. That damage isn't getting done. He would love to be doing that splash, but they're just out of range. It's kind of a poor positioning on that part. So he's trying to set up his tanks, but I mean, once again, he doesn't have enough Aegis, so these Buckies are steadily doing damage. DiesOsse with a Warthog air to ground is still picking off tanks left and right. Red is pushing a little bit more in. Red has the advantage. They can't overextend here, though. A lot of their units getting hurt. ShadowUltima ferrying those back, picking up the damaged tanks and ferrying them back so they can start to heal a little bit more. Now that they moved in, the artillery are going to start firing a little bit more, and that's going to be a noticeable amount of damage that gets done. So they're trying to push in, but they're going to reposition. They're going to get out of the artillery's unit's range, and they're going to push around the south side of that outpost. They'll have a better time if they do it that way. These Buckies, meanwhile, still overpowering the Aegis, so the Aegis is trying to shoot down those missiles, but there's just too many missiles. It's overwhelmed. ProPro going to drop a handful of heavy mines, but they're just a fraction of a second too late. Now, if these Longhorn get a little too trigger happy, they will actually get taken out, and a little bit of a miss micro there. We have lots of tanks from the Carbon team shooting at those red tanks. and they did take a handful out. So DiesOsse working that Warthog, still going to take out the artillery, going to take out the fixers or the ratchets, but this outpost is out of energy. That air-to-air fire, DiesOsse is in danger, but ShadowUltima with the body block manages to keep his teammate from getting killed. These Buckies are still doing work. There's not enough Aegis. These missiles keep pouring in, and they're going to kill tanks. They're going to kill those ratchets. So ProPro and gocreate are getting overpowered here, in the sense that there's just too much red to deal with. These little picks off, the losing a tank here, losing a tank there, those little losses add up. They haven't just been hammered through, but they're getting hammered at. So a couple of shooters for the red team, a good drop and forget kind of unit. Eventually this ratchet will go down if that's not paid attention to. And while the heavy mines are on the side, they're not on the front, so these units are going to move straight through. They could probably flank this outpost, get a good neutralize, or they could move up. And honestly, it's in red's advantage to try and split their attention now and go ahead and take everything. Since ProPro can only be in one spot at one time. But Carbon's forces are starting to crumble. gocreate is in the background. He's ferried a handful of Dillos. He's going to try and get a back cap. We'll see how that goes. He's going to need infantry for that to work out, though. So ShadowUltima and DiesOsse almost getting taken out again, always getting off by the skin of his teeth. Completely drain that outpost of energy. ShadowUltima dropping units that are already damaged, trying to get a back cap there. Now, gocreate was able to neutralize this outpost, but he needs a follow-up. These Dillos, maybe they'll attack the fort. That would get a lot of damage in, but red has a firm advantage. You hear the heavy mines going off. One or two tripped right here, took out a couple of Buckies as red does that push, but red, recognizing that this is turning into a base race, they got more units. They're going to go ahead and push it. ProPro and gocreate are trying to send these Dillos in, but they're on the follow command, so they bug the hell out and they don't get any work done. DiesOsse with the Warthog, meanwhile, is just going to shred those with his hand cannon going on. So this is probably going to go to Shadow and DiesOsse. So lots of Longhorn on the front, but they're all damaged. gocreate, not using the air to ground, needs to start shooting down. It's called right click. And as soon as he does that, he'll have a lot better effect. Also not realizing how to use the active ability on that Warthog. He would have been able to clear out all these Longhorn by now. But there's not a whole lot of... They can still salvage this. It's going to be work, but they can do it. They've lost their forward outpost, so they've lost the base race option. So at this point, they're just trying to survive, but more tanks keep coming in. ShadowUltima keeping on dropping more. DiesOsse continues to use his own Warthog to pick off the defenders. So this is going to go down for the Carbon team. Mad Depression getting taken out in this first game by dynamic execution. ShadowUltima and DiesOsse taking the lead in this series, in this best of 3. But it is not over yet.